Have you ever felt trapped in a psychological game you never agreed to play? One moment they love you, the next they are making you feel guilty, scared, or obligated, twisting your emotions like a puppet on strings? This is not love. This is not normal. This is emotional blackmail. And today, I'm exposing exactly how narcissists use this toxic tactic. And more importantly, how you can break free from their control once and for all. If you've ever been manipulated with guilt, threats, or silent treatments, stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll have the ultimate toolkit to stop emotional blackmail in its tracks. Emotional blackmail is one of the most manipulative tactics narcissists use to control and manipulate others. So how do you deal with emotional blackmail from a narcissist? This is a detailed guide. The narcissists use your emotions. They exploit your emotions of fear, guilt, obligation, and love to get what they want. Understanding this tactic and knowing how to respond can help you protect your mental and emotional well-being. But first things first, let's understand what emotional blackmail is. What is emotional blackmail? Emotional blackmail is a form of psychological manipulation where the narcissist uses threats, guilt, or punishment to control you. It usually follows this cycle. It's a cycle. Now, the cycle starts with demand. Now, under demand, the narcissist pressures you to do something. If you love me, you'll do this for me. That's the narcissist with the demand on the cycle. Now, the next thing on the cycle is resistance. So it moves from demand to resistance, which is where you hesitate or refuse. And then from resistance, you move to pressure, where they apply guilt, threats, or victimhood to make you comply. And then in the cycle, you now move to compliance or consequences. If you give in, they gain more control. If you resist, they punish you. Silent treatment, rage, or smear campaigns. That's what they usually use to punish. So they will either use the silent treatment to punish you, or rage or smear campaigns. Now, what are the common emotional blackmail tactics? Guilt tripping, where they say, after all I've done for you, this is how you repay me. And then threats, they also use threats as an emotional blackmail tactic, where they say, if you leave me, I'll ruin your reputation. And then they use the silent treatment as an emotional blackmail tactic, where they punish you by withdrawing affection or communication. And then playing the victim, where they say, I guess I'm just a terrible person, right? And then they use fear-inducing statements like, if you don't do this, you will regret it. Now, the second thing is recognizing the signs of emotional blackmail. Now, you might be experiencing emotional blackmail if you often feel anxious, guilty, or obligated around them, or you are afraid of upsetting them, or you constantly feel like you owe them, or you find yourself doing things against your will to keep the peace, or you feel trapped in a cycle of manipulation and control. So how do you break free from emotional blackmail? First thing is strengthen your boundaries. Strengthen your boundaries. Clearly define what you will and will not tolerate. Use firm responses like, I will not be manipulated into doing something that makes me uncomfortable. I make my own choices and I will not allow guilt to change that. That's the second response. Use firm responses like that. It will help immensely. Secondly, detach emotionally. Narcissists thrive on emotional reactions, and so stay calm and neutral. Respond with logic instead of emotions, and avoid defending yourself excessively. This gives them more power. Also, use the gray rock method to deal with emotional blackmail. Be emotionally unresponsive to their tactics. That's what the gray rock method says. And so keep conversations short and non-engaging. An example is, if they guilt trip you, respond with, I understand your feelings, without agreeing to their demands. Now, don't engage in arguments. Narcissists often use circular arguments to wear you down. Avoid justifying yourself repeatedly. And if they say you're being selfish, simply respond, I see it differently, and move on. gently. Also, practice emotional detachment techniques like journaling, which can help you process your emotions. Also, practice meditation and mindfulness, which reduces emotional reactivity. And therapy can also help reframe your distorted thoughts caused by manipulation. Now, for me, therapy with the Holy Spirit works like magic, and that is what worked for me, and I highly recommend it. The next thing in dealing with emotional blackmail is stop rewarding manipulative behavior. If they get what they want through blackmail, they will repeat it. And so stay firm and don't cave into their demands, no matter how hard they push. Be unshakable. Like I always say, you belong to an unshakable kingdom. You've got an unshakable God. We belong to a city. We belong to a God. We belong to a kingdom whose builder and maker is God, and we are unshakable. And so remain unshakable in not rewarding manipulative behavior. Also, prepare for narcissistic rage, because when you stop playing their game, they may escalate their behavior. And so expect blame, insults, or even smear campaigns. They will tell everyone who cares to listen about how bad a person you are. And so stay firm. Do not react emotionally. Now, when do you consider going no contact? If emotional blackmail becomes severe and damaging, consider going no contact, and then block their access to you, phone, social media, email. Remove yourself from situations where they can manipulate you, and seek support from trusted friends, family, or even a therapist. Ultimately, seek support from God, because he has the final say and can see you through this mess, just as he saw me through it and got me to the other side of narcissistic abuse and emotional trauma. Now, what if going no contact isn't possible, especially in a situation where you are co-parenting, or you're working, or you're a family, etc.? If you must interact with a narcissist, keep communication brief and factual. Also, use BIFF responses: brief, informative, friendly, and firm. Also, set strict boundaries, discussing only necessary topics, and document interactions in case of legal or workplace issues. So how do you heal after emotional blackmail? I won't lie to you, let's be realistic. Emotional blackmail leaves deep wounds, it leaves deep scars, but you can focus on self-care through therapy and support groups. Healing from narcissistic abuse takes guidance. Guidance from God is also uppermost. Don't joke with that. And also self-validate. Self-validation is very important. Trust your instincts and decisions again. Also, do the deep inner work of self-love. Reconnect with your true self without guilt or fear. Finally, I'll say dealing with emotional blackmail from a narcissist requires awareness, boundaries, and emotional detachment. The more you stand firm, the less control they have over you. Your emotional well-being matters. Protect it fiercely. So what idea or tip struck you the most in this video? Do let me know in the comments, and also hit the subscribe button to become a member of the iyabooyawale community, where we support one another through the mess of narcissistic abuse and emotional trauma. And don't also forget to share this video with a friend.